Hey, how's it going? It's Tim Brown, and this is the Hook Better Leads podcast and just a YouTube video for fun because we're talking about roofing copywriting tips. And we've got a proven checklist down in the description, so check it out. We are sharing that with our audience, and we're basically just opening up our processes, what we're working on internally, because we write a lot of content for roofers.
Yep, sure do.
And I want to ask a big question here at the beginning. What is the point? Why content? What's the point of it? Do I actually need content as a roofer in 2022?
Right. You definitely need content as a roofer, as anyone really, in 2022. I think as time goes on, content has always been the baseline thing that you absolutely need for your business. It doesn't matter if you're using modern marketing techniques or not. If there's not good content on your website, on your social platforms, on your landing pages, it doesn't really matter. You could use every marketing technique in the book if you don't have good content.
Okay, so I heard a stat recently that 90% of content on the internet has zero traffic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why and how do we combat that? I know, yeah.
Yeah. Well, basically that stat comes from the fact that people just don't have backlinks in their content, so it's not being seen.
Yeah.
So on top of writing good content that's engaging and descriptive and whatever, you need to link back to the internet and make that literal web back to your website. So a backlink would be somebody finds you as an authoritative source, so they're linking to your website or your blog. And you can do the same on your own and do links to other websites that are authoritative. And without that, it's nobody is going to find you. No one is going to find you if you're not getting the literal traffic, like roads directed to your site.
Yeah.
You just won't show up.
One little thing I've done on our website that I'm sure we're doing for some clients too is like statistics posts, because those get referenced. So that's one way to naturally get backlinks to content. Is there any other things that you've seen get links? Like content that you've created for clients that gets links?
Yeah, I would say if you include YouTube videos as well, or you're linking other authoritative sources, they might notice that people are using their stuff as a source, and they're like, oh, okay, this person's legit, or they like respect what we're putting out there, so we're gonna return the favor. And it's just kind of a group effort.
That actually happened with us with an influencer where we had a post about Home Advisor out there on the internet, and that's how Dmitry Lipinski found us. Is he was getting hundreds and hundreds of views every month from our website. And I'm sure you've worked on that piece of content before. It gets a lot of traffic. So we upgrade content on a regular basis too. So maybe I'll just cut off into that direction. What is the point of upgrading content on a regular basis, and when should you do that?
Sure. Upgrading content is a good way. So like I said before, content has always been the thing that it's always simmering in the background. You need to have it no matter what other marketing strategies you're using. And so because it's been sitting out there for so long, something may be gaining traffic. And if you upgrade it to include more modern tactics to get traffic to it, like YouTube videos, unique images, making it longer, like the longer a blog post, the better. I mean, we see roofers who are writing their own marketing, and they'll have blogs that are maybe 500 words out there, which is fine, but something that's 2,000 words is even more robust and more attractive to Google and other people. So you can actually be a reference point and not just, putting little tidbits out there.
How do you upgrade it? Like I've already said all I need to say. Let's say about how to stop a roof leak. How do I upgrade that content? How do I add more content? What should I include?
Yeah, one thing I include is I'll add more benefits to it. I'll just kind of take what it's about and expand. So for example, if you have like a step-by-step guide, that's fine. Somebody can go and see, oh, this is how I nail my roof shingles. But without knowing kind of the background and expansiveness of it, I mean, they want to know what happens if they do it wrong. You want to know the benefits of doing it right. Maybe you want to know what other people are doing or what tools to use.
Okay.
This is all things that I would add to upgrade it to make it a resource guide and not just, something that's going to fall in the cracks of Google and people search for it.
I love that. Okay, so is all this content just to sell and make the company look good, or can I just go on there and just kind of talk about the company and what we do?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I think it's a useful tool for all of it. I think the thing with writing good content is, yes, it's inevitably going to hopefully sell some of your services, but it's also your brand representation. It's your just reputation on the line in general, and making you one of the industry leading experts on this subject matter, because roofing content is boring for the most part. It's an incredibly saturated industry, and if you aren't making content that rises above to competitors, then yes, it's not really going to be worth any effort. So yes, it is going to sell, it is to make your brand look good, but it's also to make you a place where people go.
So let's just say I'm a ambitious marketing manager out there who's writing content as we speak. I'm sitting down to write a blog post because I got inspired by this checklist that we've got in the description. I'm about to write a blog post. How can I make sure that it's not, like you say, boring and slipping through the cracks of Google? Talk to me about maybe what Hook does to differentiate our content from the average blog post out there.
Yeah, so what I would do, I'll speak on what we do at Hook, but I also would encourage any roofing marketer to do this as well. Is the first thing is, we all are blasted with things on the internet all day long, and it's very overwhelming. So if you're writing a piece of content, a blog for example, if you don't put something at the very top that is gonna entice someone to read the rest of the way, you're kind of wasting your time.
So focus on those first few sentences.
Yep, we'll put bullet points, we'll bold a spicy sentence. We'll say, most contractors are giving you a no obligation inspection, but actually they just want to harass you till they get your business. So challenge your competitors.
Very spicy.
Challenge your competitors.
Yeah. Well, how do you really feel, Casey?
Yeah, right.
So content, we're talking about content, but we're not just talking about text.
Yeah.
So I guess how do I need to make every video myself that I put on my blog post? Do I need to make every photo that I put on my blog post? Right. What's the ideal, and then what's okay to do?
Yeah. I would say, so when you think of content creators today, it's obviously people do everything under the sun. They make videos, they write blogs, they take pictures. It's all you need to include all of it in order to compete, I guess.
So ideally
today.
it would be the original.
It'd be everything. Yep, original content. But I recommend marketers to use, stock photos that you've paid for. Don't find stuff on Google. Don't reshare images. Don't use other people's images. But you can use, stock photos to fill space as long as you use alt tags and keywords and the image name.
Alt tags. For somebody who doesn't know what that is, what's the point of it, and how do you why?
So there's 2 points to an alt tag, which would be in the back end of your site. You would put a description on a photo. One is that it's accessible for people who use screen readers, visually impaired. It will read to them what the picture looks like. So you'd be like, man, nailing shingles on a roof on a sunny day. But it also is creating another bit of content that Google is going to see and crawl, and it may show up in Google Images if it's in an authoritative piece of content.
So I might put roofer in Indiana nailing shingles on a roof.
Exactly. The more specific, the better.
Or whatever the blog post is about.
Yep. But to answer your question, it doesn't all have to be original videos. Okay. I will put, if I find a YouTube video that is a great example of somebody cutting through metal, for example, it has 35,000 views and it's a decent piece of content, I'll put it in the blog post. And that isn't something that, it's not stealing someone's content because it's linking right back to the YouTube and it's crediting them and all of that. So it doesn't have to be all original. It's great to be original stuff, and it's great if roofers have pictures of all of their projects they've done and they want to put that in their blog post. That's perfection, but that's not always the case.
How do you write something that doesn't just get glossed over?
Sure. Well, we follow our checklist. We include challenger viewpoints, challenging the industry, like I mentioned before. Taking different perspectives on things, because the roofing industry is kind of ever changing. And if you're not keeping up, you're getting glossed over and you're being ignored. Emotional hook points. So when somebody's getting a new roof, obviously that's a stressful thing. Try and relate to somebody who's actually looking for this information.
I was just listening to phone calls yesterday. So we listened to 100 phone calls of roofing companies, and they, the people calling in, man, it is a lot more stressful than I realized. Like, there's a lot of people's roofs actually leaking at the moment of phone call.
Yeah.
And so it's a pretty stressful event, and it's not always like hunky-dory.
No.
So you're saying if I can somehow empathize or relate to that.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we might be fooling ourselves by thinking every homeowner is sitting there and reading a 2,000 page blog, but if they read in the first couple sentences, like, we get it, you're in a rush, you're stressed, that might actually draw them in to be like, oh, this company empathizes with me.
I like the emotional hook points thing. Lastly, how does a company like Hook Agency even write for outside companies? Don't I have to be like, don't I need to know everything about this company and be inside the company and talk to the owner every day to write something well for them? Why?
No, I wouldn't say so. I think the reason companies like us can write for other companies is, one, we know what works. Through trial and error, we have discovered a perfect formula that works for companies. We essentially act as, we may as well be their internal marketing team, but we're just outside having an entire team dedicated to our proven processes that work. And two, we do extensive research about what's working in the industry. I mean, I've written so many blog posts about roofing materials and how to nail shingles. I could probably do it myself.
Number one ranking blog post in the world for roofing materials, actually, but
could probably do it myself. Yeah. So we just take the time and energy to learn as much as possible. I read the top articles on Google search results, and I just, if you read 10 how-to books on something yourself, you can probably do a pretty good job at representing what that might look like.
So when are you starting your roofing company?
Right. No, never.
Why wouldn't you start a roofing company, by the way?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I'm a klutz. I would get injured day one.
Okay, perfect.
I would get hurt day one.
I like that. So if you had to talk to somebody that was currently struggling to do some content on their website on a regular basis, or they've had a company that was doing one piece of content a month on their blog or their website, but you think they should step it up and use a more aggressive team, can you look into this camera and just say why, and like what's the problem and what you do differently?
I would say the problem is probably that roofing marketers, or just, sometimes it's not even a roofing marketer, sometimes it's just the people who run the business, they just don't have time. If they're putting out one blog post a month, it means they don't have the time or energy to put together pieces of content that are consistent, relevant, long enough, even pulling images and video, it takes time. And we have the time, and we have the manpower, and we just are a better resource to actually start getting quicker results and taking something off of their plate that they don't have to worry about.
Awesome. Casey, where can people find you online, and what social platform should they connect with you on?
Sure. I'm on LinkedIn. I share content tips a lot to help people kind of
say your
be
name
better.
so-
Oh yes,
yeah.
I'm Casey Swanson. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on the Hook site, obviously, and I share tips every now and then on how people can write better content, support their business, and just, you know.
Crush it online. Excuse me. So Tim Brown, hookagency.com. Thank you so much for being part of it. I think that my favorite thing about Casey and her team is that we are honestly not even necessarily always required by clients to continually move the quality forward. Like a lot of our clients just go, yes, now. Because we used to do content for everybody and that was a bad decision. And now we only do it for contractors, which is a much better decision. So if you think it's hard now, what it used to be like was a lot harder. That's the power of niching into contractors. But what I like about your team is that you guys are always, the clients aren't necessarily saying it has to be so much better, but you're internally doing workshops weekly with your team and you're forcing the quality to go up, even though no one else is necessarily always forcing the quality to go up.
Yeah, it pains us to not put something out there for our clients that isn't perfect or that we wouldn't write ourselves for our own sort of website or business or whatever we would have.
Absolutely. And so if you want the proven process without the price tag, just check out the checklist below. And of course, we would love to work with you too if it's appropriate. So thank you guys so much for listening or watching, and have a good one. Bye.